They called him the strange man of the Oglalas. To the U.S. Army, he was a ghost, a phantom of the plains, who moved without a trace and struck without warning. But to his people, he was Crazy Horse, a warrior of immense courage and a mystic who drew power from the world of spirits. His story is one of brilliant victories, heartbreaking tragedy, and a legacy that echoes through the heart of the American West. So, who was this legendary figure? Born around 1840, Crazy Horse was quiet and introspective, known for his light hair and fair complexion. He earned his name after his father, a respected medicine man, transferred it to him following a vision. In this vision, Crazy Horse saw a warrior on horseback, untouched by bullets and arrows, with a lightning bolt on his cheek and a single hawk feather in his hair. This vision would guide him for the rest of his life. He sought no honors for himself, often giving away what he had to the poor and needy. This humility and his fierce dedication to protecting his people's way of life earned him profound respect. For years, he was a leader in the resistance against the relentless westward expansion of the United States. He fought in Red Cloud's War, a rare victory for the Plains tribes that led to the 1868 Fort Laramie Treaty. This treaty was supposed to guarantee the Sioux their sacred Black Hills forever, but forever is a fragile word. Crazy Horse's life took a dramatic turn in 1870, not on the battlefield, but because of a forbidden love. He fell for a woman named Black Buffalo Woman, who was already married to another man, No Water. In a culture where relationships were complex, they decided to elope, but No Water tracked them down. He found Crazy Horse in a tipi and, in a fit of rage, shot him in the face. The bullet shattered Crazy Horse's jaw, leaving him with a permanent, visible scar. This act was a serious breach of Lakota custom. For his part in the affair, Crazy Horse was stripped of his title as a shirt wearer, a prestigious leadership role. This personal scandal pushed him away from tribal politics, but in doing so, it unleashed him. No longer burdened by political responsibilities, he was free to become what he was destined to be, a full-time war leader, a spirit of absolute resistance. The fragile peace of the 1868 treaty was shattered just a few years later. In 1874, gold was discovered in the Black Hills. The sacred Pahasapa, the heart of everything to the Lakota, suddenly became the target of a frantic gold rush. The U.S. government, which had promised to keep settlers out, now broke its own treaty. They tried to buy the Black Hills, but the price they offered was an insult. When the Lakota refused, Washington declared all Nonagency Indians hostile. An expedition led by Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer marched into the Black Hills, confirming the presence of gold and sealing the fate of the region. The stage was set for the Great Sioux War of 1876. The U.S. Army planned a three-pronged attack to corner the hostile tribes, but they severely underestimated their opponents. In June 1876, General George Crook's column marched north, only to be met by a force led by Crazy Horse at the Battle of the Rosebud. For 6 hours, the two sides fought a fierce, swirling battle. Crazy Horse was everywhere, charging into the fray, rallying his warriors. His tactical brilliance completely stunned Crook, who was forced to retreat. This was a massive strategic victory. It not only boosted the morale of the Lakota and Cheyenne warriors, but also prevented Crook from linking up with the other two army columns. Just 8 days later, one of those columns, the 7th Cavalry under Custer, found the massive village Crazy Horse had helped defend at the Rosebud. This village was now camped along the Little Bighorn River. Custer, arrogant and eager for a glorious victory, decided to attack immediately. He had no idea of the sheer number of warriors waiting for him. Sitting Bull had provided the spiritual vision. Crazy Horse would provide the military genius. As Custer's command was engaged by warriors led by Goal and Two Moons, Crazy Horse led a massive flanking maneuver. He swept down from the north, cutting off any chance of escape and sealing Custer's fate. It was a perfectly sprung trap. Custer and his entire immediate command were wiped out. The victory at Little Bighorn was the height of Native American military power. A stunning moment of triumph against overwhelming odds. But this triumph was short-lived. The U.S. was enraged and embarrassed. The Indian problem was now a national obsession. The army redoubled its efforts, sending thousands more troops onto the plains. They began a relentless campaign of pursuit, not just in the summer, but through the brutal winter. This was total war. They burned villages, destroyed food supplies, and scattered the people. For Crazy Horse and his band, it was a time of constant running, of freezing cold and gnawing hunger. Their ponies grew weak, and the children began to starve. The buffalo, their source of life, were disappearing. One by one, other leaders began to surrender, seeing no other way to save their people from annihilation. For months, Crazy Horse held out, a symbol of defiance. But by the spring of 1877, the situation was desperate. His people were starving. With a heavy heart, he made the agonizing decision to lead his band of nearly 900 followers into Fort Robinson, Nebraska, to surrender. He did so on the promise that they would be given an agency on their own land. He arrived not as a defeated man, but as a proud leader who had chosen to save his people. But peace did not last. The fort was a hive of intrigue and jealousy. Other Lakota leaders, who had long been rivals of Crazy Horse, whispered poison into the ears of the army officers. They painted him as a troublemaker, someone who was planning to break out and start the war all over again. The fragile trust began to erode. A critical moment came when a translator deliberately mistranslated Crazy Horse's words. When asked to help the army fight against the Nez Perce tribe, Crazy Horse had supposedly agreed to fight until all the Nez Perce were killed. But what he likely meant was that he would fight alongside the army until the whites no longer needed his help. The mistranslation made it sound like he was planning to turn on the soldiers once he was armed. This was the excuse the army needed. General Crook ordered his arrest. On September 5, 1877, Crazy Horse was tricked into entering the post guard house when he realized it was a jail cell. He resisted. In the chaotic struggle that followed, as his friend Little Bighorn tried to restrain him, a soldier lunged forward with a bayonet. The blade sank deep into Crazy Horse's side. He was carried to a nearby office, where he lay dying through the night, attended by his heartbroken father. He was not yet 40 years old. In death, Crazy Horse became something more than a man. He became a legend. He was never photographed, and he never signed a treaty. He left behind no written words, only the memory of his unwavering fight for his people's freedom and their way of life. His burial place remains a secret, known only to his family. They took his body and laid him to rest somewhere in the land he loved, his spirit forever intertwined with the sacred Black Hills and the vast plains he fought so valiantly to defend. He remains a powerful symbol of resistance, courage, and the enduring spirit of a people who would not be broken. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as powerful as we do, please like, share, and subscribe for more chapters from history. We'll see you next time.